Well, hi, and welcome to another episode of The Promise and the Profane. This is episode 7, and we're entitling it Fish or Cut Bait. And it has nothing to do with fish or bait, but rather moving on, if you get my drift. In other words, making decisions, getting closer to a decision about what you're going to use in order to interpret those aspects of your life that are not so clear, that have such a very deep impact on your life, but you have hardly any control over. We've talked about it before. I'm Deacon Pete. I've been an ordained preacher for over 20 years. This channel is intended to help folks from living a senseless, meaningless life that's going nowhere. I want to give people hope for living a fulfilled life. I call my approach the promise in the profane. You know, there are, and we'll be joined, I'm sure, by Jax, who's kind of a little nervous this morning for some reason. You know, I wanted to remind you a little bit about what we've been talking about life, the analogy about life being like a river full of obstacles, and we have to negotiate it, with our boat. We have control over what kind of boat we use, and we have control over where it goes to avoid the obstacles or ram into them if we want to. But I've encouraged us to pull off on the side of the bank that we have a familiarity with, the physical part of our lives. We're very familiar and comfortable with those aspects of our lives that are physical. And there's another bank on the other side that we're not so familiar with, the mysterious, ethereal one in which we encountered what I've been calling the greater strength, the one that seems to have a purpose for us because it has created us. It has established us in a certain time and space with certain assets. People respond to encounters with things greater than themselves in the mysterious. Sometimes they encounter them with a religious response, okay? And I've said religions are a reaction or a response to this greater strength that we encounter every once in a while. Kind of coping mechanism, yeah. And so now I'm going to go very quickly and compare religions. There are hundreds of thousands of religions across the globe. I mean, everything from individual religions of indigenous tribes and peoples all the way to the ones that we interact with every once in a while in our own lives. Now, all of these, in all of these religions, there are good people. There are good people. And good people in a religion is not really a gauge for the type of religion that can help you. You're the one who has to choose one that's going to help you cope with those mysterious aspects of your life that are causing you great concern. They may seem similar in their response by producing good people, but they're not. Not all religions are what they seem to be at the outset. It reminds me of the time, okay, not everything is what it seems. I was going down this road one time when I was a real young boy. I was in the desert, the Mojave Desert. I was going down this road, and I was driving this old 71, and well, in those days it was kind of new, a 1971 Toyota Land Cruiser. Oh, what a beast. That thing, oh, what a four-wheel drive vehicle that was. Anyway, so I noticed on the side of the road something I'd never, ever in my life seen before. It looked in the distance like a rabbit was dancing. Now, hey, if there's anything that the Mojave Desert's got, is jackrabbits. It's got plenty. It's got all kinds of other stuff too, but jackrabbits in abundance. Okay. So I thought, well, what the heck is a rabbit dancing for, right? So I drive closer, and the closer I get to it, I see what the rabbit's doing. This rabbit was running around in circles. Wasn't dancing. It was running around in circles. And so I passed it by saying, what am I going to do with that? Am I going to? I got to find out what it is. I got to find out what it is, right? It could be crazy. It could be rabbit. Hey, a rabid rabbit. Oh, anyway. All right, so I turned the 4-wheel drive, the Jeep, the Toyota around. I turned it around, and there was no other traffic, believe me. There ain't nothing on that time of the night on that road. And I pointed at this rabbit, and I got out of the old truck, and I was walking to it. I was walking towards the little beastie, and the closer I got, the faster he'd run around. And finally, he just got so exhausted, he just stopped, and he was just kind of rocking back and forth. He was just out of breath. And I saw what it was all about. He had some kind of way with a car or something broken his right front leg. He broke that leg, and it was a compound fracture, and it's hanging there. And I said, oh, man, what am I going to do with this rabbit? So the guy couldn't run on that leg, so all he could do was push off on the left leg, and that's why he was running around in circles. So things aren't what they seem to be at first glance. The same thing with religions. Oh, you want to know what happened to the rabbit? Well, long story short, at that time, as would happen, I owned a rabbit, a pet rabbit named Tyrone. So I had rabbit food, and I knew about the behavior of rabbits. So I grabbed a tarp from the back of the truck, and I threw it over this rabbit, this jackrabbit, and I bundled him up, brought him home, and set his leg as best I could, put some antiseptic on it, and made him a sling. And so he still ran around in circles, but I let him go, put him in there with Tyrone, and Tyrone the rabbit, and he got to be good friends over a period of a few weeks. And the long story short, he learned to run on 3 legs because this leg was useless. It was a lost cause. And so eventually I got him outside and let him go, and he took off. So he was doing just fine. But getting back to Rance about religions, they're not all the same, even though they produce good people. Okay, and when we're looking for one, we tend to be seekers of the things that need to be fulfilled in us with a religion. It can't just be, you just don't pick one. Because if you just pick one, it'd be like picking a pet and you find out you got a broken leg jackrabbit. No, you don't. You don't just pick one. What most people are looking for, they want something that will help them find their purpose in life. And in order to do that, they want to discover how they're connected to life, how they're connected to the things that attract them and the things that repulse them. How am I connected to the ebb and flow of the tides of the ocean? The things that we respond to positively, the flocks of birds that fly around, the breath of fresh air, all the pets that we have and the creatures, the stars in the sky and the cosmos and just everything that is filling our lives. How are we connected? Religion should help us find that connectedness, right? And do so and help us with our response. We are certainly humbled when we stand in an expanse of sky that reveals all the many stars. Well, religion should help us with that response. How do we respond with reverence and respect? As I said, religion should help us get a sense of purpose in that milieu. Okay, that environment of respect and interconnectedness. And religion finally should allow us a method and a direction on how to contemplate that, how to ponder these things in our hearts, how to navigate what they call the interior life. This is what religion should do. A point I want to make is that religion needs to serve you. You don't serve the religion. If you find yourself serving a religion, that means you're in a cult. It means get out. Okay? Religion serves you. It's like and what it's doing is serving you like a set of polarized sunglasses so that you can look at the mystical part of that mystical bank of your life, and you can see more clearly what's beyond. You can see more clearly as to what's happening spiritually in your life. And you can respond to it with more sense. And you can form a relationship with this powerful creator, this powerful God. Okay, there are two major divisions, if you will, of religions. One in which it doesn't matter or it's not real that the universe is created. There are groups of religions and beliefs that it doesn't matter that the universe was ever created. Okay? And the other one adheres, the other group of religions believes that the universe was created. And when you look at those things, if you're looking for connectedness in this universe, why would you go with those religions or faiths in which connectedness, the universe has no source, has no part for you to play in it? And the religions that I'm talking about in the first group, the one that has no use for a creator of the universe, are those belief systems like agnosticism, which is not believing in any, not positively believing in God. In other words, it doesn't make a difference if there's a God or not. That's why, or atheists, which absolutely do not believe in God. And there are the plethora of pagan Eastern religions, such as Buddhism and Hinduism and Jainism and Taoism and Confucianism and Shintoism and all of these which do not ascribe a creator. In fact, they have multiple gods, and the religions are so complex that the only way that a person would know how to navigate in those faiths would be to be born into them and grow up with them, because they're absolutely confusing as heck. But the main thing that these religions do not do is help, since they don't have a creator God, is that they do not encourage you to have a relationship with the creator. No relationship. You're just a body that burns incense and rings bells and chants and all this stuff. You're doing it to this God or that God or whatever. That's not a religion that can help you with the mystical part of your life. It's still confusion. It doesn't help in the ways you want religion to work for you, is my opinion. The three major religions that embrace a creator God are Judaism, started about 4,000 years ago with the call of Abraham. Then Christianity, about 2,000 years ago, with the entrance into creation of God himself through the person of Jesus Christ. And then about 1,400 years later with Muhammad the Prophet, Islam. These three major religions, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Now, Judaism started by God taking Abraham out of this pool of pagan worship and saying, no, there's only one God. This simplifies everything. I created everything. And this is the way things are. Finally, we get Moses, and Moses gives the law, gets the 10 Commandments. And so now these people know what God wants. And God is wanting them to obey these 10 commandments. And when you look at them, you realize these commandments are made to help people get along with each other. But it helps these people get along with each other, establishing him as the authority. But one thing that was rocking along, these people, these are human beings, and they would wax and wane in their faith, in their belief, and God would respond, trying to corral these people back into belief, back into the nation. One of the things that happened along the way was that he sent them prophets and said, look, hold on, I will send you my fullest revelation of myself. The fullest, most complete, clearest revelation of myself. And that came in the form of the Messiah. The Messiah came in the form of man, Jesus. And this man came and fulfilled all these 10 commandments by elevating them into prescriptions for loving each other and for forming a loving relationship with God himself, one that approaches one fleshness. And this gives purpose to life. And some people accepted it, but because what had happened to Judaism, and this is still is relevant today in Judaism. Judaism had devolved into a religion of praxis. Praxis means the focus of the faith in practices, in various forms of worship, and making sure you get it right. Making sure you say the prayers right, making sure you do what is right. And the de-emphasizing of a relationship with God. The praxis is most important. Okay, the practicing of the rituals. And so this is what happened in Christianity. Christianity about the time of Muhammad had devolved itself because of the humanity. It had devolved into a religion of praxis. And if you say these prayers, if you beat these rosary beads, if you do your adoration and do your indulgences and all this kind of stuff, this mumbo jumbo was just nothing but praxis. There was a de-emphasis of relationship with God, a de-emphasis of loving relationships with your neighbor and such as this. It was mostly fulfilling the commandments again and fulfilling those the rules by the church. And here enter the scene Muhammad. Muhammad the prophet says, hey, Judaism lost its way. Christianity lost its way. We got to get back to the basics. But his idea of the basics was more like Judaism. And it was, we will get to God through praxis. And so you notice Islam, which means surrender or subjection. Islam is a religion really, really rich in praxis. The rituals to be performed, the prayers to be performed at certain times of the day, the clothes to wear, the this or that. All of these things are full. Islam is full of these things, right? And so there's a de-emphasis on a relationship with God. The only relationship is one of surrender, one of humility. And oh yeah, they give a lot of titles to God, the 99 titles of Allah. But there is no emphasis on a relationship with Allah other than face to the dirt. And that doesn't fulfill those needs that we want from a religion, does it? What do we want from a religion that we said before? We wanted a way to be connected to the universe. How does that connect us to the universe if our face is in the dirt with Islam? Here comes my invasion by a part of the universe that invades every once in a while. Get this out of here. If you don't mind, a little respect, please, from creation. All right, so he's going to be there. All right, but what is my relationship with this cat? You know, religion needs to address this. Religion needs to speak to it, has to work for me, right? And this religion of Islam does not help that. And so when we look at these religions, we look at them and we compare them and we see that Christianity, in its pure sense, is the only one capable of establishing an interconnectedness with creation, with the cosmos, with the things that amaze us and touch our hearts, with our loved ones, with the ebb and flow of the tides, with the vast expanse of stars at night, with the warm breeze or the cool frost, all of these things that speak to us in nature. We have a connectedness to that. And Christianity helps us with that. And Christianity helps us with handling our sense of awe. It doesn't plant our face in the dirt. It lifts us up like the Christ did, that woman that was caught in adultery. He lifted her face out of the dirt and said, I don't condemn you. I don't hold you to your past sins. Just go. I won't condemn you. Sin no more. This is the type of religion Christianity is. It gives us a sense of purpose because our purpose is to walk with our God and to do His will. And what His will is for us, we discover through contemplation. We discover through walking that interior life, right? This navigation of the interior life is exactly the core of Christianity. This religion serves you. And we're going to talk more about which of the Christian religions there are that you can identify with most perfectly. But Christianity, this life in Christ, who reveals Himself as Emmanuel, God with us. This one who gave His life for us, and in doing that, showed us how much God loves us. This is a religion that works for you and me. This is truly a promise in the profane. I will see you down the river of life. God bless you.